The official definition of marketing is it is a philosophy that's main focus is providing customer satisfaction. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Also included in the definition are all of the activities that help businesses reach their target market effectively. The ultimate outcome for marketing is when a successful exchange occurs.
Can seem pretty overwhelming, which is why my tool. The biggest problem with marketing today is that it's overwhelming. So many different strategies, tactics, and tools to try, and everybody's screaming at you that their way is the best way, not the only way. That's why in this episode, I'm going to help you cut through the clutter, and I'm going to share with you 10 key marketing basics and fundamental principles you must know if you want to succeed with marketing today. Let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Adam Earhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to The Marketing Show, where we help you grow your business and generate more leads.
Okay, give me just a second. I've got to pull up one other one. That one was jumped in that didn't belong there. Hang on one second. Okay, thought it was a different one. It's the right one, so here we go.
Leads, customers, and sales by making better marketing. So if you're interested in learning the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting.
Okay, folks, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble today. As usual, seems like lately the computer and I don't get along well. Hold on one second. Here it is. Okay.
Hey there, my name is Adam Earhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to The Marketing Show, where we help you grow your business, generate more leads, customers, and sales by making way better marketing. So if you're interested in learning the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. All right, let's talk marketing. Something I love to do is I fell in love with marketing years ago when I first got interested in figuring out why people buy and act the way they do, and later how to influence and persuade, essentially affect human behavior. Because whether you have a business or not, marketing happens pretty much every day. Anytime you try to convince friends or family to see a certain movie, or eat at this restaurant or not that, or basically try to convince them to do anything, marketing's happening. Also, marketing is really important to understand because you are constantly being marketed to by everyone from everywhere. From something as simple as someone trying to sell you a pair of shoes to something a lot bigger, like buying a new house, or moving across the country, or even changing careers. All of this requires and uses marketing. So with all that said, let's dive into it. But first, let's cover what marketing is not. So once we've got that clear, we can cover exactly what it is. Now I know when I first got involved with marketing, my understanding was pretty limited. I didn't really have a clear picture of exactly what marketing was, so I also kind of fell prey to the notion that marketing was advertising. Well, in reality, marketing isn't advertising, but advertising is marketing. Let me explain. Basically, marketing is a major business function that's made up of a bunch of other parts, one of which, of course, is advertising. But there's also a ton others like PR, market research, social media, content marketing, search engine marketing or search engine optimization, pricing and pricing psychology, copywriting, and one of my personal favorites, direct response or direct response marketing, and quite a few more. So saying that marketing is just advertising is kind of like saying that finance is just taxes, or HR is just hiring people, or legal is just not getting sued. Sure, these are all important, but they're really just one piece of the entire puzzle. This is why if you're just getting started in marketing, it can seem pretty overwhelming, which is why my suggestion is to find an area that you find interesting, fascinating, like say social media or content marketing. Start there, really get some roots, and branch out later. All right, so now that we've got that covered, what exactly is marketing? Well, as I've just covered, you know that marketing is made up of a bunch of different sub-segments, things like content marketing and email marketing and social media, all the things we talked about. But what exactly is the nature of marketing? Which sounds like some kind of documentary, The Nature of Marketing. On this week's episode of The Nature of Marketing, well, one of the first things you learn in any first-year marketing course is the 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. Product being the details around whatever product or service is being sold. Price being the price, kind of obvious, but there's obviously a lot more that goes into it than just that. Place is where the product's being sold. And promotion, which is kind of the fun stuff. This is essentially how you're going to sell more of the product and what you're going to do to get the word out about your service. And while all of that is accurate and true, and the 4 Ps do make up a part of marketing, well, I prefer a simpler and easier to understand definition. Marketing, in its most basic sense, is communicating value to your customers. It's essentially answering the question of your customers, why should I care? Marketing helps people solve their problems by clearly defining and delivering solutions and really explaining the benefits of those solutions so they can get better results. Marketing is about connecting with people, understanding their pains and their problems and their frustrations, making them feel understood so that you can position your business as the solution to their problems, and essentially just make them feel better. And marketing is a really powerful force. As anyone that's been in business for any length of time can tell you, it's not always the best product or service that wins. In fact, it rarely is. Rather, it's the product or service with the best marketing. Like it or not, that's just kind of how it works, which is why having good marketing is just so important. So my favorite definition of marketing is that it's communicating value to your customers, but there's another side entirely that's rarely talked about, but still equally powerful, and that's creating value for your customers. You see, marketing can create value, and your marketing in and of itself can be valuable. An example could be a blog post that helps someone out, even before any money has changed hands. Or an advertisement someone sees that brightens their day and makes them laugh whether they choose to buy or not. Or the way that a product or service is delivered, the packaging, let's say, which is so luxurious and over the top that it makes the customer feel special just for having purchased it. You see, economics assumes that people make buying decisions rationally, logically, and with perfect information, but this is rarely, pretty much never the case. We as humans are emotional, often highly illogical, and rarely have the full set of facts when making any decision, which explains why marketing is so important and so powerful. After all, if we made all of our purchasing decisions based solely on logic and utility and the value we would get from these products, well, the entire luxury goods market wouldn't even exist. But not all marketing is created equal. You see, when it comes to marketing, like when it comes to pretty much anything, there's good marketing and there's bad marketing. Bad marketing is all of the reasons that marketing gets such a bad reputation. It's that hypey, spammy, over-the-top, sleazy, salesy, icky kind of marketing that we all know, we've all seen, and nobody likes. It's the stuff that looks cheap, makes people feel dirty even just looking at it, and promotes bad products or bad services that really helps nobody. It's the fake countdown timers you sometimes see on websites, the going out of business sales that never end, and the pushy promotion of useless products. That's bad marketing. Good marketing, on the other hand, helps customers achieve their goals, makes them feel better about themselves, and has the power to truly change the world. So my question to you is, what kind of marketer do you want to be? That was a rhetorical question. If you say the bad kind, I got nothing for you. But if you say the good kind, and I know you did, then make sure to check out this video right here, which I've got linked up on the page, which is going to give you even more practical and effective.
Okay, so there's a lot of things, like I was telling you from the very beginning, that with marketing, whether you're doing it for hospitals or doctor's offices or, Ferraris, marketing is marketing, and it, takes all the same principles regardless of what company. So a lot of time, people with marketing majors might bounce from, working for a marketing company like Ford, and then go right on to maybe a marketing company with like Macy's or something. So marketing is marketing. It's just knowing your product or your service and knowing how to get it out there. For instance, if you noticed in the video, he mentioned blogs that really don't cost the company anything, but it kind of reels your client in. A lot of hospitals now and healthcare services are having blogs, and they just have information, like that they might need. For a while, of course, it was all about the COVID and about the vaccinations and, you know, all the various ways to avoid it and those kind of things. And people could go and participate in those blogs and not ever actually use the product, but it puts the product in their minds, you know. And there's also a lot of commercials that they don't even say much about the product, but then in the end, the customer remembers the commercial, and by remember the commercial, they typically remember the product. So marketing is how you get it out there and how you get the people to remember you, because that's the key. Remember you and then try you. And of course, we'll go into more of that as the semester goes on. Okay, any comments, questions, anything right now? We're good? Okay, all right, I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint. I'm not a big proponent of reading from the PowerPoint, but I will do my best to not read from it and add in some extra stuff to kind of help y'all remember. And let's see, okay, of course. Okay, can y'all see that? Anybody can't see your hands, but maybe someone will say yes.
Yeah, we can see
Yes.
Okay, super, thank you. You know, like I said, the computer and I aren't the best of friends lately. Have an appointment with the tech after this class. Okay, when you're looking at marketing, and you know, the two videos gave y'all kind of a roundup definition and some thoughts on marketing, but what actually is the meaning of marketing? And you know, what are the prerequisites and who actually does it? One thing I'd like to let y'all know is that about 40 years ago, a little over 40 years ago, hospitals, doctors, lawyers, anybody in what was considered a professional occupation did not advertise. It was considered in bad taste to advertise. And in fact, the AMA, American Medical Association, flatly said you will not advertise, that people should come to you and use your service because of, you know, that it's a good service because of your reputation and not because you put a bunch of advertising out there. And so in years gone by, prior to advertising, what happened was the hospitals and the different healthcare facilities, they would advertise sort of in a different way. And what they would do is they would go directly to the doctors or directly to the providers or directly to whoever it was that they wanted to reel in. Because in those years, you went to the hospital that your doctor practiced at. So if the hospitals were able to reel in the doctors, then they would also reel in the customers, the patients. And so, you know, they would do things for doctors like send them on trips, you know, cruises and, you know, trips to Hawaii. They would buy them golf clubs. They would get them membership in, you know, country clubs. They would have these huge, beautiful lounges for the doctors in the hospitals and maybe their own office in the hospital. And, you know, they had their own parking space, all those kind of things to entice them to come to their hospital. Well, here comes AMA and they're saying that we're not doing that anymore. You know, we're going to, you can talk directly to the consumer, but you can no longer entice doctors because in some cases it wasn't the best place for the patient to be. So all kinds of benefits like that were stopped. So now the only kinds of things that they can do for doctors and other medical professions is things like, you know, prescription pads with their name on it or pens with their name on it or things that can actually be passed on to the patient as opposed to giving the provider all kinds of benefits just so they'll use their hospital. And in fact, things have changed a lot also is that hospitals now have their own doctors typically, their own specialists, their own everything a lot of times. So they don't have to entice others to come their way. So about 40 years ago, or about 30 years ago, the first marketing position was created in a hospital in Evanston, Illinois. And they created that position. They were really ahead of their time. And they saw the writing on the wall that there was going to have to be a way to start bringing customers to them or patients. Because back in those years, you really didn't even have a choice in your insurance companies. You know, your insurance told you, you know, where to go. They said, this is where you can use the insurance. And to some degree, that still is in effect, but you still have choices. In those days, you didn't have choices. So they knew they had to figure out a way to get to the actual patient or customer. So because it got to the point where you could then choose, and your insurance company would pay for wherever you chose out of a selection. So marketing began to be geared more at the end user, who is the patient. Okay. 1 second. Okay, and so when you're looking at this, you're thinking that the meaning of marketing is actually planning, executing, pricing, and promotion and distribution. And the process of planning and executing has to do with creating exchanges that satisfy the individual and the organization's objective. You know, the organization can't just decide, well, this person needs to have a facelift, you know, and then they go tell them, you need a facelift. You know, that wouldn't go over so well. So you need to decide, how are you going to satisfy the individual's needs as well as your own company's needs? The company needs to make money. You know, regardless, even if you're a nonprofit organization, that does not mean, a lot of people are under the mistaken impression that nonprofit means you don't make any money. And that's not the case. A nonprofit organization is one that, what happens to the extra money at the end? It's strictly a way of reporting to the IRS, among other things. But in a nonprofit organization, any money that's left over after you've paid bills and after you've paid salaries and, you know, any of the things that upkeep a business running, well, if there's money left over, if it's a nonprofit, it goes back into the business to buy, you know, to raise salaries or to buy new equipment or buy new land or build a new building or whatever it happens to be. If it's a for-profit organization, the money left over goes to the people who, the shareholders who own the business, and it gets distributed to them. So that's really, when you're talking nonprofits, you don't mean, you know, it's kind of a misnomer. You don't mean, oh, we don't make any money. Because if you didn't make money, you wouldn't be around long. Imagine if you graduate, a lot of you will be graduating in 2024, and a company comes to you and say, oh, we really like you and we really would like you to work for us, but we can't pay you anything because we're a nonprofit. I can tell you right now, 100% of you would say, I don't think so, right? So, you know, money has to be made. You have to make a profit. It's just how the money is distributed at the end. So the focus is typically for, according to the Joint Commission, Medicare, Medicaid, for the patient, physician, organization to all have satisfaction. That's the key to marketing. That's the key to successful business. So there's some, according also to the Joint Commission, there's some prerequisites for marketing. One would be there's unsatisfied needs. So there's a need to be met. And when you think about a need to be met as far as hospitals, let's look at, let's say that you are in downtown LA, and there's not maybe a orthopedic clinic within 20 miles from wherever you're at. So there's a need there because a lot of people, particularly people who live in the downtown area, a lot of them don't even have vehicles. You know, they depend on public transportation. So how are they going to get to this orthopedic clinic if they, you know, if they're in need of it? So there's a need, let's say, for a new orthopedic clinic. So you have an unsatisfied need there. And then there has to be a desire to meet that need. Well, does this hospital, particular hospital, want to put forth the money? Is there going to be enough business? Maybe can they pull people in other than from the downtown area? So is there a desire to fulfill whatever need there happens to be? And then you've got to look at, to have something to exchange, some way to communicate so people can find out about you. There's always limitations that you have to look at also. For instance, in the 1847, now we're reaching way back there, you know, like almost 200 years ago, the Code of Ethics from the AMA placed a ban on all advertising because they said that it altered the dignity of the profession. And then, like I was telling you, around 1970s, they pulled back on that and decided that that it could actually be advertised because if the competition grew so much fiercer. So, one second here. In 1969, Kotler and Levi published an article about the broadcasting field of marketing and how it's relevant for both profit and nonprofit organizations. So you really have to think about, you know, what is the relevance? And a lot of times, you know, for someone like me who remembers the days when you didn't see advertisement, you know, when I see big billboards of pictures of lawyers, you know, and it says, you know, have an accident with an 18-wheeler, come see me, we'll take care of you. Or, you know, even pictures of new family clinics that show a picture of a doctor and every age range of patients, obviously, you know, sitting around him. I have to always stop and think to myself, you know, why do they have to advertise? You know, but we need to get away from that thought pattern and that your younger generation, you all have grown up seeing it, so it's not so difficult for you. Because we like to think that people that are in fields, professional fields like that, have clients because they're good at what they do. But that's not always the case. You might be really good at what you do and you just haven't marketed yourself. Nobody knows about you. Maybe you're not active on social media or whatever it happens to be. Okay. You saw I don't think y'all will ever forget price, product, place, promotion after the little video. And if you think you might be, I'll play it again for you. It's such a lovely little ditty. So, but basically, when you're looking at the 4 Ps, it's the products, it's the services. You know, product is not just a thing you can hold. It's not just a, you know, a Ford Raptor, or it's not a, you know, a bottle of aspirin or whatever it happens to be. Product can be goods, services, or ideas that are offered by a firm. And today, this could mean contractors who actually run emergency rooms, you know, or web-based consulting services. Emergency rooms aren't always run by the hospital themselves. Oftentimes they're run by other agencies or other companies, and they hire the doctors and they hire the nurses and, you know, they pay the leases on the equipment, the whole works, because it becomes pretty overwhelming sometimes for some cases with hospitals to run it and keep it staffed, particularly in today's world. The price, you know, you can price something, you know, a lot of things people run into is they think, boy, they think it's so wonderful, whatever their product is or their service, that they can just charge what they want to and people will come. And that's just not the case. You may think it's wonderful, but that can be pretty myopic. You know, maybe it's not all that wonderful to other people, or maybe they don't even need it, or why would they even want it? So price is really basically what a customer is willing to pay for it. If any of you ever watched, I hate it when I can't see y'all, it's better in person. If any of you have ever watched the Shark Tank, you know, their response always is, well, yeah, this is pretty neat, but what problem does it fix? You know, what need does it meet? And a lot of times it can be a neat little ditty, but it doesn't fulfill any kind of need. So oftentimes those will not get a deal on the Shark Tank because the market area, the target group is just too small. And they're looking for big bucks, you know, something that the whole world would want. You know, I've seen things on there that I've gone out and tried to find afterwards, but, you know, really neat things, you know, that I thought, wow, I wish I'd have thought about that. Something really simple, but it markets to the whole world. That feels a need for the whole world. So price is only what a customer is willing to pay for it. And then your place is, you know, how's it going to be distributed? You have insurance, you have prepaid health plans, you know, what are the location? What are the hours? Let's say that you wanted to open a business that was one of those 24-hour health clinics or 24-hour, not emergency, but just you can go get a checkup 24 hours a day. Or even 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day, but then what, having to go to the doctor, or have an appointment, or, or go to a clinic or anything like that. Well, you have to look at, what do you have to do to make yourself stand out? What about the hours? If you're open just from 8 to 5, chances are that you won't stand out too much and just going ahead and going to the doctor's office or going to one of the other clinics. So what can you do that sets you out, that makes you a little different, that would, create a business that will survive? Okay, and then your promotion is actually your marketing mix. How are you going to promote it? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to do direct mail? Are you going to make phone calls? What are you going to do to promote your service or your business or whatever it happens to be? Because I can tell you it won't survive if you don't promote it. A lot of times, I know all of you have seen it. If you're driving down any of the main streets in Long Beach and you'll see a restaurant and you'll think, oh, I need to try that place. And then you go back by 2 weeks later, it's gone. Because what happens is that people use every penny they have to open up a business, and they just think it's going to survive and be wonderful because what they're providing is a really good thing. Well, you may be providing the best, Chinese food in Long Beach, but if no one knows about you, they're not going to find you. So you have to figure out a way to promote whatever it is. Otherwise, you won't survive. So promotion is a huge part of marketing. And a promotion can be any way of informing the marketplace. It can be publicity, it can be advertising, it can be personal selling, whatever it takes to get people to your business. Okay, I'm going to stop here for just a minute. And I'm going to show you a quick video, and then we're going to do a little short worksheet. I'm going to put you in groups and we're going to do a little short worksheet, but let me show you the video first. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Let's see. Where'd it go? Okay, this is about needs versus wants. One second. Oh, shoot.
And wants, but I've been casting my line and the fish aren't biting. Here is the deal. We say it time and time again. When you DM us or comment us with a question, we actually go and try and find the answers for you. We are out on the street. We're asking real people about their needs and wants, but I've been casting my line and the fish aren't biting. So I'm throwing it over to our BTQ street team.
Excuse me, ma'am, what is something you need in life?
Something I need in life. Tell you what, time. Everybody needs more time.
Something that I need in life, probably money.
I need the arts. I'm an actor. I do a lot of theater. I like doing it and I kind of need it.
Webster's dictionary defines a need as, no way. You want the boring version? Go buy a dictionary. But instead, check this. A need is an instinctive force inside you that pushes you towards things that keep you alive, and hopefully they keep you mentally and physically healthy. Survival stuff like shelter and food. Not having the things you need can make you sick, it can up your stress levels, and it can cause depression. On that happy note, next.
Okay, can you describe something that you want in your life?
I want to be happy in my life.
I want to be successful, I guess.
Wants are pretty much everything else. They're the things we think will make us happy or improve our lives, but they're not necessary for surviving. Like pretty much everything in this Sky Mall catalog. A chess set made out of salami. I can get on that. Look, Camping Man has the stuff he needs, but there is something he wants. In this case, it's that sweet, sweet Java. But he's been getting that cup of coffee every day for a month, and that's hard on the wallet. So how do we need versus want?
It's time for the main event, the battle to settle this. Need versus want, robot versus robot.
Nope. That's the problem right there. It doesn't have to be a battle. If you make need and want work for you, it can rocket you forward. Here, let's go back to Camping Guy for an example. Instead of getting that cup of coffee he wants every day, he's been taking care of the things he needs and saving a ton of coins. And ultimately, he's setting himself up to get what he wants while being able to enjoy it. That's the real trick to all this need versus want stuff. Taking a deep breath and working through if getting that thing you want is really worth it. Are you gonna be able to enjoy it if you're scraping by to get the things that you actually need? We have to kick this idea that to get what we want, we need to do this. And we need to look at it more like this. I need to do this to get what I want. Maybe you need a job to get the car you want, or maybe you need to learn Spanish to go on a volunteer trip that you want to do. It really comes down to getting your priorities straight. So start with the thing you want and then work your way backwards. List out all the things you need to get there and then go tackle it. Having all those things line up and seeing them, seeing the end goal and the path in front of you, that's what's going to get you to the future that you need and want. Hope you found this video to be helpful and awesome. Feel free to comment. We actually monitor this whole thing, so we'll respond to you. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do now is what I want y'all to do, I'm going to set y'all into the breakout rooms, and you're going to self-select by putting your group number. And I sent you the group list again. No one's group changed. Y'all just had one person added in 6 and one person was deleted in 1, but everybody else's group's the same. I'm going to put into the chat right now a paper that I want y'all to fill out in the chat room. I'm going to give y'all about probably 5 to 10 minutes. And I want you to tell me in medical terms, like as far as sorry, I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. As far as the things that you would have done medically, or things as far as that you would need and things that you want. So think about the things that you would absolutely need, the types of things you'd absolutely need medically or health-wise, and the things that you would just, that you want. And you're gonna have a paper to put it on. I want one person to fill it out and, get 4 or 5 on each side. I hope that everybody can see that now. And then when we come back as a group, we're just going to see what different people thought about, and then we're going to have a little discussion about needs versus wants when it comes to types of health and medical services. Okay, are we good? Any questions? Y'all are either asleep or I'm doing a good job of explaining today. So I'm going to, again, open the groups up. And you're going to, thank you, Jacob. And you're going to select the group that you're a member of. And if you don't remember or you have trouble, I will be here to shoot you over there manually. Okay, it's open. Everybody should be able to see it.
Professor, I believe I was in group 4. Can you confirm that for me?
Yeah, Claudia?
Yes.
Okay, yes, you're in group 4.
Got it, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Professor. I just wanted to ask, which breakout room do I join in?
Yeah, let's see. You are in, I'm looking. I don't see why you don't, Kim. 'Cause I know you're here. Oh, 3.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Daisy, you okay?
Yeah, I was trying to find the worksheet.
Oh, okay. I sent it to the chat room. You want me to send it again?
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Can you see it, Jacob?
Yep, thank you.
You betcha.
Professor?
Jackie.
I'm so sorry. I didn't catch the document in the chat. I ended up joining the group before.
Okay, I'll send it right now.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, you should be able to see it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, folks. I hope y'all came up with some really good things when it comes to what's a need and what's a want. So after I hear some of the things y'all came up with, then we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. Group 1, who is your spokesperson, and give me 2 of the needs and 2 of the wants that y'all came up with.
Sure. I guess I'll go just because I wrote it down.
Okay.
But
I'm ready, Jacob.
some of them are interesting because they can kind of count as a need and a want. Like we found like medications, like for cholesterol or blood pressure, I think is a necessity. But then birth control, right, is more of a want. You don't need it, but it's definitely convenient, or, you know. And then another need was like access to like emergency care. I think that's probably a necessity. And we try to define it as like things that you can survive with or without, right? Like, so, you know, if you have a stroke, you know, and that's probably a life-threatening thing. So emergency care access would be important as a need. Whereas like maybe the ability to choose like who we receive our care from is more of a want, although it's nice. It's not necessarily a necessity.
Y'all did, that's great. Y'all did a good job on that. Those are some, actually, y'all did a lot of thinking that I haven't had before, so good job.
Well, thank you. It's a group effort.
Okay. All right, how about group 2?
Under needs, we put vaccinations and glasses. And then under wants, we put braces and liposuction.
Okay, very good also. Yeah, because you know, it's funny because when I was in school, you know, 100 years ago, very few people had braces. And now when you walk through any kind of junior high or even elementary school, you know, I'd probably say 80% of the people have braces. So it definitely is, things are changing, and that definitely does fall. And that's another one I haven't heard before. Good job. Okay, group 3. I can't hear you, Claudia. I think maybe you're muted. And now unmute yourself.
Sorry, I'm not even a part of group 3.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay. All right, group 3. Anybody? Okay, let me call you out. Let's see. How about?
I can share.
Okay.
So for needs, we put disease prevention and a safe and secure environment. And then for wants, we put shorter wait times or name brand / more expensive medications, because those aren't necessarily needed, because name brand medications doesn't mean that it's more effective.
Okay, yeah, good job. Absolutely. Boy, y'all come up with some different ones. That's great. Okay, how about group 4?
So what we have is, for needs, we have more than a 10-minute visit, which also leads into kind of connects to the wants, which is less waiting time, because we wait for so long. But then when we go into the doctor visit, it's only a 10-minute. And for needs, we also have more available appointments and more access to rural areas.
Good. That's good. Good job. And that is true. Or, you know, I don't know how, I'm more familiar with the Texas system, but in Texas, they have a lot of small towns that aren't connected in any way except by cotton fields and cattle ranches between the big cities and the small towns. And a lot of them, they can't sustain healthcare facilities. So what's happened is some of the bigger ones like Baylor Medical, who gobbled up Scott and White, they have satellite clinics in these small towns. And they do very, you know, the real basic stuff, you know, like they checkups and, you know, minor surgery and those kinds of things. But that's a real problem. You're right, for particularly in rural areas. So good job. Okay, how about group 5?
I can talk for group 5.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh wait, does someone else want to do it?
Okay, I guess I can just do it.
Okay, no problem.
We talked for needs, we talked about just having health insurance in general, just for the general population is a need, proper diagnosis, just having medical workers, healthcare providers that are able to deliver proper medical care is definitely a need, and infection control as well. And a want we talked about was like telehealth, the convenience of being able to visit your doctor virtually. It's something that's new, kind of still new, but it's becoming bigger in the healthcare world industry right now. But I think that's a want, because before that we were just doing in-person visits. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Is that it, or do you have some more?
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Super. Well, y'all all did a really good job. Let me just add a little bit. A category that oftentimes falls into wants are your some of the cosmetology services, the plastic surgeons, that will give you total facelifts, or just get rid of the wrinkles, or Botox you up, or lift your behind, or whatever it happens to be. Clearly those aren't needs, they're wants, and typically the insurance doesn't pay for those things either. So plastic surgery is wonderful for people that, need it for various medical reasons, reconstruction and those kinds of things. But a lot of it also is, particularly here in California, people are obsessed with looking younger. And so a lot of it is, geared in that direction. Those are definitely wants instead of needs. And you have to look at locations for that also, because many years ago, a lot of those types of facilities were in downtown Hollywood, in that area, and now they've moved out of there because that's not the clientele that you see typically anymore for right now. It may when they get it all gentrified, but right now, the people who live in the really, really downtown areas, they're worrying about where their next meal is going to come from, or how they're going to have any kind of medical care. So are many of the ones that live in that area. So they are looking at needs instead of wants. So anyway, good job. That's I like for the students to think about, because when you get into administration and you start looking at new programs and new facilities and those kind of things, you got to look and see what it is that your target group needs and what they want, and what are you in business to do? What are you in business for, which area? Because a lot of times they don't cross over that much. Okay, let me go back now to the PowerPoint. Let's see. Click. Okay, so again, as we just discussed, you're looking at the types of things that needs versus wants. So oftentimes, as one of the other groups mentioned, that a patient needs medication for hypertension, or they need to control their cholesterol, but they may not be able to. But on the other hand, they may want an appetite suppressant, a diet pill, basically. And most of the time, unless there's some extreme circumstance, doctors are not handing out those diet pills anymore. So, what do you need and what do you really just want to make life easier for yourself? Okay, let's see. One second here. All right, so you also have to look at who is the customer. And a lot of your needs versus want, again, is based on who's the customer in healthcare. And for instance, if you're in downtown LA and you're at a clinic for one of the free clinics in downtown LA, then you're not going to be looking too much at wants. you're going to be looking at needs, because a lot of individuals just need the very basic of healthcare just to survive. And they're not looking at what they'd like to have, like, some type of cosmetic surgery or Botox or whatever it happens to be. They just want to make it to the next day. So who is your customer? Whereas if you are opening a clinic in Laguna, and you're catering to a very high-end clientele, then you can start looking at maybe the wants and not so much the needs, because there's plenty of facilities out there already to fulfill the needs. So who is your customer? Who is your target group? You'll be hearing a lot about target groups as we, move on through the semester. All right. 1 second to catch up on my other computer here. Okay. So as you look at the different eras in marketing, the production era was really to, to produce a high quality. Many years ago, that was really, things were very different, and people didn't buy something that wasn't high quality. A lot of times now we don't have a lot of choices because those kinds of things have changed a lot, like where we're getting our products, what the products are, what they're made of. I can give you an example. I drive a 2014 Ford truck. It was the last year that Ford made trucks completely out of steel. They started making them. They didn't make the one I have until 2016 again, and it was made out of fiberglass or something, whatever the lighter weight stuff is. So if you're working on a farm in Texas, and you're pulling things around with your truck, sometimes that fiberglass is not so good because the least little thing, and you damaged it badly. So even though, you may want to purchase a particular product, it just might not be available. So as we look at the, production and how it's changed over the years for various reasons, lack of whatever thing it takes to make it, lack of the raw product, lack of, gas mileage being bad, whatever it happens to be in that particular example, things have changed in many cases, sometimes for the better. Sometimes, the plastic, if you're looking at other types of things, things are lighter weight and, it's not so bad, but then again, they break easier too. There's just a lot of things have changed over the years for various reasons. And then we've also got sales. Now, we don't think about it in today's world, like sales have just always been there, but in the old days, like before the 1920s, people bought what was available. When you went to if you were living, in outside, even major cities, outside the major city, you had one store probably, and they had, the very basic things, one brand of flour, one brand of sugar, and maybe you didn't even have that if there wasn't a sugar mill close by. There was just very basic stuff. And you didn't think about selling it like companies, distributing companies, or they weren't even distributing companies, people that were making the product didn't even consider, going and selling it 2 counties over, because how would you get it there? How would you sell it to them? How would you even know about it? Because the roads and everything were so bad. So along came cars, vehicles, along came better highways, because once you had vehicles, then you needed roads that they could drive on, right? So about the 1920s, when the highways started being created, that was the beginning of the traveling salesperson. So the shift on how things were distributed changed greatly, because now you could make sugar in Alabama, and you could send it all the way up to New York or wherever it happens to be, because you had highways and you had vehicles. And before, when you had just a horse and buggy, can you imagine how long it would take to get from Georgia or Alabama up to New York? Because New York is where most of the back east, where a lot of the companies were that did the building of things, like Detroit built all the vehicles and all those kind of things, and they didn't have as much agriculture right there close by as we have down in the South. So it's very different. You know, I had somebody tell me one time, because, you know, I love rebates and I love free things. And I said, there is no way I would have gotten in a horse and buggy in Boston and driven all the way on a horse and buggy to California. I said, I would have just stayed. And they said, oh yeah, you would have, because you'd have heard there was free land. Well, I don't know about that because I can tell you it took them a year. Can you imagine? At least a year, and through all the horrible things they had to go through. So once they started building highways and building vehicles and stuff, then we were able to distribute things. We were able to, people were able to get usage and get availability of a lot of things. And that came also to medical things like pills and pharmaceutical products, and doctors were able to, you know, get around better. In the old days, if any of you ever watched Little House on the Prairie, that doctor rode around in a horse and buggy, you know, so, you know, everything became better, you know, once progress took place. Okay, so again, I already talked to you all about how hospitals began to shift from given their attention to physicians to giving it to the consumer, to the end consumer. They began to advertise and let people know that they were there and what they could provide. And just as a side that I didn't mention a while ago, and I usually have some ads, but I couldn't put my hands on them. You could always advertise medicine. It never fell under that code of ethics that doctors and services fell under. You can find ads from newspapers in like 1800s, you know, advertising basically all kinds of things, even like some derivative, like, I'm trying to think what that product is, but morphine. You could actually buy it just over the counter, you know, or something like that. And, you know, they would advertise it, big bottle pictures and stuff. And to this day, you know, advertising has changed, of course, and there's a lot of food, the FDA puts a lot of, you know, qualifications on it. But to this day, you know, you see all kinds of ads for new kinds of medication for various ailments. But in about 20 years ago, or maybe, I don't know, a few years back, they had used to always just talk about these great new medicines and how wonderful they were, but they would never tell you the side effects. So the FDA said that you have to also mention the side effects, because all these people were going to their doctor and saying, I want this because it's wonderful. And the doctor would have to say, listen, it's not all that wonderful. You know, this can happen to you and this can happen to you. So next time you see an ad for medicine of any kind, medication of any kind, notice that they always say in rare instances, blah, blah, blah. And that's because the FDA forces them to do it. But anyway, health medications have been advertised for a really long time. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Excuse me. Okay, and ask, do y'all have any questions? Any comments? Anything you learned today that you didn't know? All right, how about show of hands? How many knew that you used to could not advertise because of AMA for doctors and hospitals? And show of hands, how many did not know? Somebody's doing their job. Okay, yay, I got some reaction. All right. Because in y'all's life, that's all you've ever seen. But I think it's interesting though that, you know, the first marketing person was hired in 1976, you know, so it's not that long ago, you know. Okay, all right, so we meet again on Thursday, and we're going to talk about chapter 2. If you look at the schedule, typically we don't meet on Thursdays, but I'm just doing the beginning because I want to be sure if we have any new students or anybody come in also. And sometimes if it's scheduled, if I feel like y'all need more time for something else, I will cancel a Thursday sometimes. But right now we do meet this week on Thursday. And remember, next Tuesday, we have the librarian coming in. Okay, questions, anybody? Are we good? I hope y'all have a great day then. And we'll see you on Thursday.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Professor?
Uh-huh.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
For my LinkedIn, I sent you an invite like last week, but I never got. I got my grade back, and it's at 0. So I'm
Yeah,
not.
I didn't understand. I couldn't understand it because I knew that I felt like that, you would have done it. And so I was surprised that I couldn't find it. Do you have a different first name or last name or?
No, just me, Tran.
Me,
I can
okay.
send you a screenshot if you need.
No, I believe you. If you said, I'm going to look again though, and if I still can't find it, because maybe I was reversing it and putting the wrong name last when I was looking for it. So let me double check on that and I will send you an email, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And don't worry about it. We'll fix it. Whatever the issue is, we'll fix it, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Bye-bye. Jacob, what's up?
Hey, for the paper that we just did in our breakout rooms, do you want us to submit that?
No, that was just for y'all to have a worksheet to work with, with just kind of give y'all some organization.
Okay, cool.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I actually really like my group. And then the second one, I don't know if I want on the recording if.
Good. Yeah, let me turn it off. Hang on. Yeah, but did you have fun in Vegas?
Oh, yeah, it was very, very nice.